Hello everyone, I am Aranyak Saikya, and in this year's UPSC Civil Service Examination 2019, I secured an All India rank of 59. In this short video of mine, I'm going to talk about one important thing that really defines your preparation in the civil service examination, and that is note making. If many people actually ask me what was the one thing that you really tried to work upon or improve during these last three attempts, like this is your third attempt, what did you really improve in your third attempt by virtue of which you got a really good rank. And I would say from my personal experience, I think one of the most important things that really helped me get a good rank was probably note making. Now you must have heard almost everywhere that people talk about note making as an important aspect of say, this examination and preparation. But the important thing is how do you prepare notes. When we start our preparation, we are told that note making is important, but we don't know how to start making notes, what approach should be taken for preparation of the notes, and how should we revise them at the end. So in this short video of Delhi Knowledge Track, I'm planning and I will take you through what I did during my preparation and see how this really helped in my final answer writing and in the exam. And I hope this also helps you in your exam preparation as well as in your final exam answer writing. So first of all, when should one start making notes? Note making should start ideally, I think, a year prior to the exam. So 1 year of notes is more than enough to have a thorough understanding or to have a good set of good notes which can be used in the exam. So I think 1 year of proper note making is more than enough. Secondly, what type of notes should be made? So here I will talk about what I did. First of all, I did not make notes on the static portion of the syllabus like the NCERTs or Lakshmikant. I used to read them multiple times, and in the hope that I am able to retain most of the things that are there in the book, I did not make notes on those. I used to make notes mostly on things that were dynamic or current affairs based, or which did not have a standard textbook. So these could be simply GS1 paper, say for example in GS1, issues related to society, sociological issues. Say in GS2, issues related to governance, issues related to international relations. Then GS3, economics and science and technology, and some amount of security related issues. And in GS4, mostly in the entire syllabus, you had to make small notes as per the requirements of the paper. Now, first of all, what I used to do is I used to I used to read the newspaper, which is one of the most dynamic topics. Then in the newspaper, I would see whether there are certain topics which are of relevance for the UPSC syllabus. Then if they are of relevance, then I would take them, write small notes out of it and put it in in my notes. Now the question is how should we make those notes? Now the first thing is to have a software. It might be, say, Evernote, which I use. Evernote is a very good software. Some people use OneNote, and many other people use Microsoft Word, which is more than enough. So ideally what I feel is that it should be done on an electronic form rather than in a hard copy, or rather than by writing by hand, simply because you have to make additions and subtractions to those notes. You might have to add pictures, you might have to add a few graphics, or you might have to add a few links, and this is simply not possible when you are making notes by hand. So ideally you should use some of these apps. So Evernote is a very good app. Similarly, Microsoft's OneNote is a very good app, and Evernote is free. You can simply download it from Play Store or from App Store, and it's easily available. So you can use that app, and I found it very user friendly. Second thing, what I made was I made a few topics. Now my topics, I had arranged it into 7 broad topics: sociology or society, economics, polity, governance and security, environment, and ethics. So these were essentially the 6 or 7 topics that I had made. I'm not able to recollect all of them. Yes, and the seventh one, of course, was international relations. So I have made those seven topics, and these under these seven topics, what I found was that it could cover at least 70 to 80% of the dynamic GS main syllabus. So and the other thing was that these were not in relation, or these were not fully in conformity with the UPSC syllabus. For example, society or sociological issues could fall both in GS1 as well as in GS2. Areas like issues relating to poverty and hunger would be sociological and socio-economic issues, which might fall under GS2. But similarly, issues relating to Indian society like dowry, caste, and other things are purely GS1 topics, but they would also be covered within the same set of within the same topic under in my notes. Similarly, say for example, governance. Governance would be a topic that could be used in GS3, GS2, as well as in GS4. So that is how I had prepared my notes. So there was some overlap in terms of the topics and in terms of the syllabus across the various GS papers. The second thing, what I made some subtopics within those topics. For example, in polity, one important topic that was coming up in the exam, in the newspaper or in the news around that time, was relating to the collegium system. Of course, there are certain aspects of the collegium system, like how the second judge's case, the third judge's case, how the collegium is formed, what is the composition, and so on. These are essentially given in Lakshmikant, and therefore they are static portions. What I tried to incorporate in my notes were the new things which were not there in Lakshmikant, or which were related to policy guidelines, which were related to opinions of various important lawmakers or important legal advocates, or things which were not there in the syllabus, like how the judges are elected or how they're appointed in, say, other countries like in US or UK and important other democracies. So these were the things that I tried to incorporate in my notes. So what I used to do, for example, suppose on a particular day, say in Hindu or Indian Express, there is an article on the collegium system. I read the article and I see if there is anything new to it, and I find that okay, there are 2 or 3 points which are new, which say for example tell us how give us a policy prescription on how the collegium system can be reformed. Now once I have that, I immediately take it, I write it down in my notes in Evernote under the subheading collegium system, and I write it by my own words in as precise and as concise a manner as possible, so that it becomes very easy for me to recollect when I revise later on, and it's also easy for me to write it down in an answer when I actually have to write it down in the final examination. So these are the 2 things that I try to incorporate in my notes. The other thing is then after say 2-3 days, another article comes on the collegium system. Now of course that article is something that might contain mostly the same points as what the previous article contains. So if it contains the same points, then there is no point in writing down those points in the notes again. But I see if there is any other important point to that article, then I again put that particular point in my notes. Now the thing again here is that you have to write it in your own handwriting, in your own words, because that is easy, makes it easy for you to recollect later. It increases your understanding of the topic, and it makes it very precise and concise, which is easier for you to recall at the time of the examination. Sometimes it might so happen that the article might contain the same things, so it's not necessary that you have to write the same thing over and over again. It just adds to the clutter, and you don't get any value to it. You don't add any value to it. So that's how I used to make my notes. Now the second thing that comes is revision. Now these notes have to be continuously revised, otherwise you cannot recollect them, or you cannot recall them when you actually need them in the exam. Now the important thing is, because you are making notes on a regular basis, you are going to make a large set of notes, and you cannot actually keep them with you. You cannot actually expect to recall all of them at the end of the examination. So there is at the end of your preparation. So you need a continuous process of revision in order to have a good retention of your notes. What I used to do is, every day when I made notes, I used to make notes in the morning after reading the newspaper, and then in the evening I would just go through them once to see if I recollect or if I recall all of those things. Then after 1 week, I used to revise the entire set of notes that I made in the last 1 week. and then in the end of the month I would revise the entire set of notes I made till then. So this entire revision, so the entire process of revision was a continuous process, and by the end of the just before the exam begins, by the end of the preparation, I had revised the initial set of notes at least 10-15 times. And so what had happened was the things that I made 1 year back are still fresh in my memory, and that helps me in writing my answers. So I think that is really important. Secondly, with the notes is one important thing is that of making good examples. Now, if we, for every topic that is there in the syllabus, if we at least have one or two examples or few data points or few government schemes or few policy recommendations from certain government committees, I think that is very important in framing a very good answer, and these notes really help. So you keep on adding these points in the notes itself, and you keep on revising them, so that when you actually have to write an answer, either in the introduction or in the policy conclusions or somewhere in the middle of the answer, you immediately recall, okay, these are certain examples for this topic, I can put it in somewhere or the other, provided it is relevant for the answer. So I think that is also important. You keep on making certain examples and you keep on adding certain data points or certain facts and figures to those topics while during our preparation. Now the other thing about making notes is related to certain important documents like the budget, the economic survey, and that of the second Administrative Reforms Commission or the second ARC reports. Now first coming with the second ARC reports, second ARC reports, ideally for every chapter there is a summary in the reports itself. From the summary itself you can make very small notes, 1 page or half a page notes from the summary, which you can use in your answer writings as policy recommendations or as examples to substantiate your answers. So I think that should be more than enough. I had made around 14 pages because there are 14 chapters in second ARC, and these 14 pages, one chapter comprising 1 page would comprise most of the summary and certain policy recommendations from each report, which I had continuously revised for multiple times, which could be used in GS2 answers, even in GS4 answers. So these were really good. Secondly, the budget. I don't think you have to really make a separate set of notes. The important thing is to understand what the budget document contains. There are two aspects to it. One, it gives you a statement of the income and expenditures of the government in the last 1 year and what it expects or what it estimates for the next 1 year. So I think that aspect you have to have a very broad idea and doesn't have to be very detailed. So only the main figures like what is the revenue deficit, what is the fiscal deficit, what the revenue as a percentage of GDP that the government is expecting from direct taxes, from indirect taxes. I think these are the broad figures that one needs to know, and these will be available not just in the budget document but also in the summary of the budget document produced by the PIB itself. So the PIB document of the budget summary I think is more than enough for this portion. The second portion is related to the schemes that the government proposes to introduce, as well as an estimate, or as well as it gives a statement on how the previous schemes have fared or how they have performed in the last 1 year. So I think these are the two important things, and again PIB brings out a very good budget summary of these aspects. I think if you read them, that is only around 5-6 pages. Read them thoroughly. I think you don't really have to make notes on them. But if you still want to have better clarity, even other websites like Vision IS, GS Score. Coming to the economic survey, this is again a very important document. Again, there are two parts to it. One is the volume 1, the other is the volume 2. The volume 1 deals with what the chief economic advisor thinks are the new policies that are to be introduced for the economy, what he assesses the overall perspective of the economy to be, or what all new, or he introduces certain new concepts or new topics which are of interest or which can be of a very good importance for improving the macroeconomic fundamentals or for the policy environment in the country. So that is, I think, a very important document, and volume 1 should be read thoroughly, and from them small notes can be made, like 1 page, 2 page or 3 page notes. The boxes in the volume 1 document are important. Again, these should be read thoroughly, and certain summaries of volume 1 are also available online in various websites that I have mentioned earlier. Even for budget also they are available. So again, these can be used for making having a thorough concept or thorough understanding of the economic survey. At the same time, there are certain economic terms or certain macroeconomic aspects which a non-economics student might not have a thorough understanding of or might have issues with. So these are easily available I think what one can do is to simply Google these terms. The Google these terms, try to understand them. There are very good websites like economicsdiscussions.net, economicsstackexchange.org, and certain others very good websites, and even Wikipedia itself would give you a very good very thorough understanding of what is needed, of what these concepts or these economic fundamentals that the economic advisor talks about. The second thing is about volume 2, and volume 2, I think it's not a very important document given that it only talks about what has happened in the last 1 year, the fundamentals, the various sectors like the government sector, the fiscal sector, the monetary sector, exports, imports, and so on. I think having a broad idea is more than enough. So again, PIB brings out a summary of the economic survey. Read it thoroughly. Volume 2 will give a very good volume 2 summary of the PIB. I think is more than enough. Read it multiple times, and I think you'll have a very good idea, and that can be used in improving your answers, because you can give these examples or give these data points from the economic survey to really make a very good and comprehensive answer. So I think these are all that is needed when it comes to note making. From my side, this is all I have to say when it comes to note making and having a thorough and using it for improving your scores in the civil service examination. I hope it has helped you in whatever little way possible, and I also hope that you devise your own strategy of note making, which will always be the best. And it comes through a process of trial and error. It takes some time. Initially it might not happen, it takes some time. Give as much time as possible, and then try to see if that really helps you in improving your answer writing. And I'm pretty sure it will really help you. There are certain websites, there are certain blogs which also provide very good notes, which you can also use for your notes and all add value to those existing notes. My notes are also available. It's available on my blog, which aranyaksekya.wordpress.com. There are other blogs which I've also mentioned in my blog as well, where you can also read other people's notes as well. I think all of these are really good ways by which you can improve your note making and make very good notes. I hope this has helped you, and all the best for your upcoming examinations. Thank you very much.